Alright, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to get into a breakdown of what schizophrenia is, different symptoms, and then kind of compare it to, what organized stalking victims, better known as targeted individuals, go through. And I'm just going to give my take and my opinion on, the information develops here. Let's get into it.
Schizo means split, and phrenia in this case refers to the mind. Even though schizophrenia can be interpreted to mean splitting of the mind, it does not refer to a split personality, like some media sources might portray, but rather schizophrenia describes a scattered or fragmented pattern of thinking. Schizophrenia is actually a syndrome, meaning there are all sorts of symptoms that might be associated with it, and different patients might experience different symptoms.
Okay, so right away, this right here is kind of similar, how they say different patients experience different symptoms, just like different people who have been targeted, who are going through this. Some people experience different symptoms and different attacks, should I say. It's not a symptom, it's an attack. It's a harassment campaign. And, some people get the noise campaign. Some people get V2K. Some people get workplace mobbing. Some people get infiltrated all around the board, and some people don't, which kinds of, leaves room up in the air for us to not come to a common ground when discussing things and comparing things. But let's get back into it.
Although the symptoms can be broadly categorized into three major areas: positive symptoms, negative symptoms, and cognitive symptoms. Alright, taking a step back, most human symptoms from any illness are extreme versions of a normal physiologic process. For example, everyone has a heartbeat, right? And tachycardia is a fast heartbeat. In the same way, everyone has a normal body temperature, but during a fever, that temperature is higher. In schizophrenia, patients have positive symptoms, which aren't positive in the sense that they're helpful, but positive in the sense that there's some new feature that doesn't have any normal or physiologic counterpart. These are the psychotic symptoms, so delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, and disorganized or catatonic behavior, none of which occur physiologically. Delusions are false beliefs that the person might feel very strongly about, so much so that they won't change their mind, even if you give them evidence against it. There are all sorts of different delusions, like, for example, a delusion of control, where somebody thinks that some outside force or person or thing is controlling their actions.
Okay, now, this right here is a very sensitive subject for me, because I know, and we all know that, the mind control is a real thing. The technologies that they have now, the frequencies that are being beamed into people's brains are definitely mind controlling people to do things. It's a fact. It's a proven fact. It's a whole fact that these things are happening. Now, as far as the little art sketch that they have here, that what looks to be like a UFO is sending signals to the guy, like that's definitely not the case here. But you can see how they mirror this to, make innocent victims of this horrific program seem to be, diagnosed with this mental illness.
They could also be delusions of reference, where someone might think that insignificant remarks are directed at them, like a newscaster is speaking directly to them through the TV.
Now, this has never happened to me before. I've never had a newscaster speak to me. I never felt like that. But there have definitely been times when I've noticed things on the TV and, where there was a little message there for me. It wasn't a newscaster, but that's a whole nother video. But if that's happened to you, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know.
Hallucinations are a second type of positive symptom, and can be any kind of sensation that's not actually there, including visual, but also including auditory sensations, like hearing voices or commands.
Okay, now this is another one. Hallucinations. Hearing voices, right? V2K. It's a proven fact that they do have technology that they use, that they are beaming voices in people's heads. It's definitely not a hallucination. That's not what's happening. But for people with schizophrenia, I guess it does happen to them. So you could see how, they mirror this thing where it could, it could look like that, but anyone who is going through this program, they definitely know, and that this is a real thing and it's really happening.
A third type is disorganized speech. An example being something like a word salad, which seems like just a random jumbling of words or phrases, like pencil, dog, hat, coffee, blue.
Now, I don't know, has that happened to anybody? When you try to, a sober mind, like I could understand if you're doing some kind of drugs or something and, your speech gets blurred or anything. Has this happened to anybody? Like, do you wake up and call your friend and say, hey, pencil, dog, hot, hat, coffee, blue, pasta, salad? Does that happen? It's never happened to me.
Disorganized behavior, on the other hand, could be like if they exhibit some bizarre or silly behavior that's out of context and doesn't seem to have much of a purpose. Like, for example, wearing multiple layers of jackets on a hot summer day.
Okay, now I've actually seen people in public who's done things like this and has displayed this symptom of schizophrenia. Now me personally, like, I've been going through this a long time, okay? I have never, ever, on a hot summer day, come outside with a winter jacket on and your boots and gloves, and I've never seen any TI in a video, or just, I've never even heard of this, so if you do have this symptom, this could possibly, this is schizophrenia according to this article here.
Also, sometimes their behavior is described as catatonic, which has to do with their movements, posture, and responsiveness. So, like, they might be super resistant to moving or be in an unresponsive stupor. Negative symptoms are like when there's this reduction or removal of normal processes. And this is like a decrease in emotions that they can express, or a loss in interest in things that they once found interesting. One type of negative symptom is called flat affect, where they don't respond with an emotion or reaction that would seem appropriate. Like if they saw something very unexpected, like a small monkey playing in their living room.
Okay, has any this is for real targeted individuals that's watching this video now. Have you guys ever seen a small monkey playing in your living room? If you do have a living room, there's a lot of people who are not fortunate to, have their own security and financial security and home. But have you seen monkeys playing in the living room, or elephants in the shower, or, if you have, this possibly could be schizophrenia.
They might simply sit and watch idly as if nothing was happening. Another type is alogia, or poverty of speech, which is a lack of content in their speech. So like if somebody asks them, do you have any children? They might respond with, yes, instead of, yeah, one boy and two girls. A third type of negative symptom is avolition, which is this decrease in motivation to complete certain goals. So someone might stay home for long periods of time without trying to reach out to friends or find work. Cognitive symptoms are like not being able to remember things, learn new things, or understand others easily. These symptoms are more subtle though, and are more difficult to notice and might only be detected if they have really specific tests performed. An example might be somebody not being able to keep track of several things at once, like a phone number and an address. People with schizophrenia seem to cycle through 3 phases, typically in order. During the prodromal phase, patients might become withdrawn and spend most of their time alone. And a lot of times this seems similar to other mental disorders like depression or anxiety disorders. During the active phase, patients experience more severe symptoms like delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, disorganized behavior, or catatonic behavior.
I see something that, I see a word here that is repeating itself during this schizophrenia symptoms, Royal. It's disorganized. Disorganized speech, disorganized behavior. And we know that, when you're a TI, this stuff is organized. There's no disorganization about you know, all of the attacks that we endure through and suffer, and the gaslighting, and the amount of energy that gets put into each and every, you know, targeted individual's experience.
Following an active phase, patients often enter into a residual phase, where they might exhibit cognitive symptoms like not being able to concentrate or becoming withdrawn again, as with the prodromal phase. For an official diagnosis of schizophrenia, patients need to be diagnosed with 2 of the following symptoms: delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, disorganized behavior or catatonic behavior, or negative symptoms. And at least one of them has to be either delusions, hallucinations, or disorganized speech. So basically they couldn't have just disorganized behavior and negative symptoms. Even though some patients have cognitive symptoms as well, they aren't specifically needed for a diagnosis. Also though, for a diagnosis, signs of these disturbances must be ongoing for at least 6 months, meaning that they're likely in one phase or another for a period of 6 months.
Okay, so it's an ongoing thing for 6 months, and everybody knows that, well, not everybody knows, but, you know, for the people who are targeted, we know that this is an ongoing thing, you know, carries out for years, you know, some people for the stretch of their whole life, some people 10, 15, 20 years, right? So you can see how they put this thing and structured it and put it together to mimic this mental illness, right?
But there must be at least 1 month of active phase symptoms. And finally, those symptoms can't be attributable to another condition, like substance abuse. Now that we've diagnosed it, why does it even happen in the first place? What causes schizophrenia?
Yeah, let's find out what causes schizophrenia, because from what I'm told, nobody knows. Like, we don't know.
Well, we don't really know, since it seems like the signs and symptoms of schizophrenia are pretty unique to humans, or at least they're hard to imagine or notice in animal models like mice or rats. One clue is that the majority of antipsychotic medication that improves schizophrenia symptoms block the dopamine receptor D2, which reduces dopamine levels in neurons. This suggests that maybe schizophrenia has something to do with increased levels of dopamine. These medications, though, are neither universally nor completely effective, and don't work for everyone with schizophrenia, which adds to the confusion and means there's probably more to it than just the D2 receptors. Interestingly, one of the most effective antipsychotic drugs, clozapine, is a weak D2 antagonist, suggesting that other neurotransmitter systems like norepinephrine, serotonin, and GABA are involved. Twin studies have shown support for a genetic basis as well, even though there haven't been any specific genes conclusively linked to schizophrenia yet. Also, environmental factors like earlier prenatal exposure to infection and certain autoimmune disorders like celiac disease have been linked with schizophrenia. Finally, another important set of clues involves the epidemiology. Schizophrenia seems to happen slightly more in men than in women, with onset in the mid-20s for men, but late 20s for women.
Okay, so they say here schizophrenia is more prevalent in men than women, and from my from my observations, studies have shown that there is more women who are being targeted and experiencing organized stalking tactics than men. I've heard that. There's no way for us to know that 100%, but just thought I'd throw that in there.
And the clinical signs for schizophrenia are often less severe. Some studies suggest this difference might be due to estrogen regulation of dopamine systems. There doesn't, however, seem to be any difference among race. Now, treating schizophrenia can be really tricky, and antipsychotic medications are often used, but it's super important to combine the efforts of several clinicians and health professionals, including professionals in therapy or counseling, medicine, and psychopharmacology. Antipsychotics can be very effective at reducing symptoms, but they often come with a lot of additional considerations to keep in mind, like cost and the potential for unwanted side effects like tolerance, dependence, and withdrawal.
Okay, now, I've said this before, and I'm going to go on the record by saying this again. I wish, what I was going through was a mental illness, because then I could take a pill right? I could get diagnosed, take a pill, and all of this would go away, and I could just live a normal life and just, you know what I mean, take my medication. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And for every organized stalking victim who was gaslit into believing that they have this mental illness, it's a lot of them, but I'm gonna just, schizophrenia is the topic at hand right now. They've been diagnosed and prescribed medication, and it doesn't go away. Like, it doesn't stop. The people that's outside gang stalking you, or the people that's on your job, if you do have a job, that's harassing you, doing these workplace mob campaigns, and it doesn't stop them from hitting you with directed energy weapons and, all of the attacks and harassment that we have to go through. If there's a pill that I could take to make all of this go away, I want it. I want to sign. Point me in the direction where I can go to sign up for this, because this has been going on for me for a long time. And when they first diagnosed me and tried to say that this was a thing for me, when I took the medication, it made things worse. If that's happened to anybody watching this video right now, put it in the comment section. Let me know. Let's keep it going.
Is a brief psychotic episode in a patient with schizophrenia. Schizophrenia can provide powerful experiences, especially for those undiagnosed or not having been treated effectively enough. The symptoms you will experience represent a compilation of a range of sensory occurrences. These occurrences include sights, sounds, and even scents. If you have any discomfort during the experience, please signal your mental health instructor, Ms. McAnally. Thank you.
Worthless. Waking up now.
Ah, the phone woke you up. Don't answer, they'll know.
They know who you are.
Why are you so worthless? Stupid. So stupid. I hate you.
Why are you going to pick up the phone? Stupid. Worthless. Stupid.
They'll know. Coming for you.
Something wrong.
They'll know.
Package. Poison package.
Hang on. Never open poison.
Coming for you.
They know about
Stop it now.
Don't listen, stupid. So dumb. So dumb.
Make a list. Make that list of
built to protect St. Augustine from invaders. It's now a great place to escape the smell of the 7,000 tourists.
They know it's
Why aren't you doing what we say? You have no friends. The TV is not your friend.
The city commissions are the only people.
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. He's not real. He's not real. He's not telling you the right things to do.
No, turn the box off.
Plenty of opportunities to develop a heroin addiction in their spare time. Now for a quick check of the weather.
Yeah, I look like a weatherman.
He knows.
There's a slight chance of tons of rain, partly chance of you being a loser, 100% chance of you being worthless. Oh, what are you doing today, guy? You just gonna sit there with your mouth open like that?
Coffee.
Yeah, smart move. Worthless.
Coffee. Doing stupid. You have no friends. Waste of your time. Now getting coffee. Doing stupid. Too hot. Fire.
Don't drink. Poison, stupid. You are so dumb.
Don't drink that coffee. That smells awful.
Please, weather coming for you.
Something wrong. Lazy. Weather bad.
You need to stop it. Stop it with your mind.
You have to stop it.
It's the weather. Careful.
He has to enter. Stay in.
Do something. Stay away from the door.
Protect us. Use your mind. Stop the weather.
No, don't answer. You are stupid to open the door.
He has to answer. Don't do it.
This is for you. Shut the door. Don't open it. Stupid to open.
You are stupid to open the door.
A proper show without a quick check of the weather.
He has to now. Reaching for you. That is what I think it is.
Grab my hand. Part of the plot coming for you.
Hey, I'm home. Did you get my call? I tried calling you about my package that's coming. I was wondering if it came. Oh, I see it came.
She know all your worthless secrets.
Coming to get you. And your secrets.
Just stop
Mike, are you okay? I'm
trying.
worried
Give
about you.
up.
You're not acting right. I think we need to get you to the hospital.
Hospital steal your secrets.
She's coming closer.
I mean, there's a whole schizophrenia community that's on YouTube. You know, there's a beauty community, there's a fishing community, there's a community for every niche on YouTube. But the point that I'm trying to make here is this community is loving. You know, people are not attacking each other and accusing each other of this and that and setting people up, and you know what I mean? It's like people just sharing their stories, and that's not like that. You know, it's definitely not like that for the TI community. I'm just gonna do something random here and just click on it.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I'm going to be making a series of videos.
Okay, what's up, Lauren? Shout out to you. But as you can see, if y'all want to find her video here, it's my experience with schizophrenia. Okay, now check this out, man. This video's got 3,151 comments. Look at these comments. It's nothing like the TI community. Nothing like it. Never give up hope. I was diagnosed at 18 in 1976, and today, now age 60, and despite it not being an easy path, I feel I have had a successful life. Wow. I've been with my husband for 36 years. I have grown up children and 2 grandchildren. I have a career as a screenwriter and a master's degree. I first began hearing voices age 17, but with hindsight, I now recognize that I first began to experience symptoms of schizophrenia at age 9, okay? This person experienced symptoms of schizophrenia, right, at age 9 after a traumatic event. You can make it. and be fulfilled and productive. Man, I gotta hit the like button on that, man. This is the kind of comments in the schizophrenia community. Look at this. Epic Sky says, be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ and repent of all your sins to have a successful life. Amen. A to the man. Amen. All right, now let's see here. I'm just going to scroll through and just pick a random comment here. Very touching story. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia at 15. Will have my bachelor's in social work in 2020. Shout out to you. Man, let me put a like on this, man. You don't see this in the TI community. You don't see this. You don't see these kind of comments on you know, people's testimonies and people's videos. Let's see here. Let's pick another one here. May Sharma. Okay. Your story moved me. Oh, all right. I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm just going to read a little bit. My mom was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was in my teens. She was a beautiful, but okay, I'm not going to read that, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying here, right? I was diagnosed too. My husband has divorced me and got sole custody of our son. I have visitation rights, but we don't live together. They forced me to take injections, which is like torture. My new doctor will switch me to oral medications in April. I just need to be patient, man. Shout out to Olga, man. Y'all pray for Olga. Let's see here. Sending you love. Right? Look at this. I think the scariest part of mental illness is feeling like you'll never have a normal life. What does that say? Yep, like you'll never have a normal life. I always think of where I'll end up. You know, look at these comments, man. Look at these people, man. These people are loving and supporting each other. Let me see if I can find one where somebody is, you know, like the TI community. You guys know what I'm talking about. The comment sections and the stuff. They even take that to harass us and to gaslight us and you know, pull these psyops. That doesn't happen here. Look, one of the bravest persons I've seen putting this all out there. I hope it helps you. Oh wow, let's see here. If you guys can pause it and read these comments if you want, or you can go and check it out for yourself and see what I'm saying here. It's a totally different community here. Now let's see. I'm gonna go to another video, you know, just to prove my theory about these comments here, and how the community is. Like, they, you know, like these people are not attacking each other and they're sharing their story, man, and it's a beautiful thing when you can do that. Like
Hi everyone, again my name is Laura.
Okay, let me mute this. I'm sorry about that. I think this might be the same person. Let me see. I know I didn't click on the same video. Let me see this girl here. Alright, let's check out her. Let's see. Very beautiful girl. Very beautiful. Let's see here. Let's look at the comments here. Let's read the one that she pinned. I can't help but be reminded of a beautiful girl in my hometown I saw often while in my teens. I had no doubt that if I looked at her, all of my problems would disappear, because everyone knows beautiful people have a life of total bliss. Surely never seen a girl this stunning who was an introspective and self-facing as she is. I was just giving her love and showing support. This is awesome, man. Look at this. This was so sad that in line I don't have any friends, so I'm always on the internet. Wow, she looks a bit like Rihanna. I wouldn't say Rihanna. I would say she kind of looked like Ashley Banks a little bit from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Let's see here. May today's weakness be tomorrow's strength. You don't see too much of that. I mean, you don't see too much of that. And then when you do see these kind of comments in the TI community, yeah, a lot of people don't really mean that stuff, you know? Like, they just setting you up for a freaking another psyop, and you know, real TIs know what I'm talking about. They understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Sherry B, bless your heart. did to myself. What was that? Let me highlight this so y'all know what I'm talking. Bless your heart. Did to myself. You're a very strong young lady, very inspirational. You know, man, this schizophrenia community just seemed like a place where people are definitely going through mental issues, but they're beautiful people, man, and they're not on the attack. They're not looking to, you know, make money off of your suffering, and you know, like this organized stalking thing is set up to do. So right now, yeah, that's what we're gonna do, man. Now let's take a look into some organized stalking. All right, shout out to Targeting Must End. If you guys have not seen his channel, it's amazing. The first few videos that I saw that opened my eyes to this thing, that let me know, you know, what I was up against. But let's just debunk this myth, okay? Now, we saw the symptoms of schizophrenia, right? So let's check out the phases of being a targeted individual, and let's kind of debunk this myth here, you know, because if you're like me, you've definitely been gaslit severely and made to believe that you are schizophrenia, or you are schizophrenic and you have schizophrenia.
Different phases of being a targeted individual. Most of us start off as non-victims, and up until the point where we've gathered enough knowledge and have a sort of a fair amount of understanding. So as a non-victim, most people just live their normal life. They go about their daily business with no problems. And unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't understand that this sort of thing exists. This electronic harassment thing does exist. It's important to just be informed, even if it's not happening to you, even if you're still not a victim. Mostly just to try and prevent the massive damage that can happen. It's a system that's designed specifically to sort of take out all your finances, to make you dry and empty and have no money, have no way of supporting yourself. Also, the common trick that they play is they're trying to get the victim to move places, move from, you know, apartment to apartment or whatever, change states or provinces. And when you do try and get a lot of help, or medical help, it's probably just going to be a misdiagnosis, and you end up spending a lot of money for nothing. Doctors might tell you there's no problem, or they might give you a wrong diagnosis. The whole thing with gang stalking and electronic harassment is that it's very unfair. You only gain experience by going through the thing. So it's only once you get in the hole and you find there's actually no way out that a lot of the things begin to make sense. Also, a lot of the damage is completely irreversible. Once you've lost your job, once you've lost your money and your friends, it becomes nearly impossible to get all of those things back. And also, the perpetrators seem to control the face. They seem to sort of dictate, you know, they drain, they might sort of cut off all your friends, cut off your entire support system and isolate you, and then once it's very difficult, they know that you can't get any kind of support, then they only move you on to the next phase. So the first level is a newbie, a person who's sort of signed up to this gang stalking program and who's a victim. And most people are completely unaware, because perpetrators, again, controlling the pace, they're not going to play all their cards immediately at the same time. Also, what they do is that they do a lot of pre-study beforehand. They study your actions and routines, and they check you out, and you still think life is normal and you're completely unaware of what's going on. And the worst case for a newbie is that you run on for years without knowing what's going on, without knowing that this thing is gang stalking, and or maybe you even believe misinformation. People who say this doesn't exist, the technology isn't there yet. Move on to the next level. Maybe within months, there's bound to be a lot of strange events happening. Things at work, or maybe you might even start experiencing strange things around the house. There's a lot of madness whenever you're in public, and but you can't just put it. It's very difficult to put a name. It's very, there's a lot of weird things, but you don't know what to call it, and you keep on bumbling on.
Now these,
it's a bit of an ironic situation where
these are not symptoms, okay? These are actually things that happen in real life. They're not hallucinations, they're not symptoms. This is real stuff that happens. And anybody that's really targeted, that's really going through this, because you got a lot of people, in social media, on, YouTube or whatever platform, Facebook, Instagram. You got a lot of them that's faking jacks, and they're working, and they're actually looking, hunting and looking and searching for real TIs to make money off of their suffering and profit off of their suffering. This is definitely not symptoms of schizophrenia. This is real talk right here. Shout out to targeting must end.
It's important for the person at level 2 who's having a lot of these suspicions to get the knowledge quicker. Again, just a case of avoiding cash, avoiding losing as much money as possible. I mean, money is the key here. Once you're broke, it's very, very difficult, and to try and hold on to the job as much as possible. A trick that they play is that you've got to move a job. Your job is your means of making money, and they know very well they're going to make it impossible for you to get the next job. And then you move on to the next level, which is getting the first knowledge after months and months of all of these crazy events. You begin to know the terminology, you begin to know there's such a thing as gang stalking. And at first the information might be very hard to digest because it's for whatever reason. It just doesn't seem believable. It just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't, it's very difficult to work out the motive, for one, as to why people would gang stalk you or people would follow you the entire day. But I mean, after some experience, you would soon find out that those people are actually getting paid. It's all a money-making scheme. It's just another way of making profits.
Absolutely. You guys hear that? They are getting paid, okay? These people are getting paid, which makes me sick to my stomach. It just disgusts me. These same people that's gaslighting you. These same people that's saying, oh, I'm targeted and I'm going through this and such, and they're not. They live great lives. I've met some of these people. They drive nice cars, they dress nice, they have nice houses, they live in nice neighborhoods, and they're getting paid behind our suffering, right? The real people that's really going through this, man. Sad, man. It's sickening, man. God bless them souls.
Biggest mistake that a person in level 3 can make is to be in denial or disbelief, and again, to remain in this phase for too long. Also because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of information that's deliberately made to keep you in the dark and make you, keep you as uninformed as possible. That's the whole game of misinformation. Fortunately, and I think there are a lot of victims now that sort of progress to the next phase. After lots of experiences, I mean, it's very difficult to still lie to the guy and say, look, you're crazy or whatever. Understanding of the full picture, understanding that this is actually a system. Electronic harassment and gang stalking, organized stalking, it's all a system. You understand almost the A to Z. However, some still believe that this can be reversed, that you can almost somehow lead a normal life. There's still a lot of misinformation out there that it's a microchip or it's a nano implant or it's an RFID chip that gets implanted into your body, and then you can go to surgery. You pay lots of money to remove it, but it's probably not the case. And others believe that you can actually, lodge a lawsuit or create a case and actually think that they can win. And then move on to the next level, which is level 5. Typically after many years or many months of seeing the routine and suffering and seeing the same kind of pain. And depending on the level of attacks, some normal, good-hearted people, victims, are sort of tempted to become perpetrators. I mean, they usually get offered better deals and say, look, if you join us, you become a perpetrator, we're not going to attack you, or we're not going to, it's going to be easier on you. But life is still very unpleasant. And as a level 5 person, as somebody who's very experienced, the goal should be to make it quicker for the next victim to know what's going on. I mean, right now, my guess is that most victims spend minimum, on average, about 2 to 3 years, losing cash, losing friends, lost, running around in circles and not knowing what it is that's going on. And I mean, the simple trick there is just to sit still and know that all the events are orchestrated, all the events are sort of artificial and made. And then also contributing to making this thing stop. A lot of the victims are actually good working people with lots of skills, people who are very intelligent, people who are, they're not criminals, they're educated. A lot of them are, if you were to give them a job, they could be contributing to society. Imagine if all of us were to come together and move on to the next generation of being a TI, not just sobbing and feeling sorry for ourselves, but strategically coming up with ideas of trying to make this whole thing stop. And I think our goal, anybody's goal in level 5 should be to make this thing stop as quickly as possible.
You wake up one day and all of a sudden it seems like all your friends are against you, and you wonder what the hell is going on. You seem to be losing friends from different social circles.
Is that happening with anybody? watching this video right now, because it's definitely happened to me. I mean, countless times, many times, over and over again, even on YouTube.
And then, even when you're at work, it seems like colleagues are just sort of ganging up against you.
Now, this is not schizophrenia. Like, this really happens in real life. These aren't symptoms. This is what really happens. This is some of the attacks that we as targeted individuals have to go through.
It could actually also be workplace mobbing, where there's like a deliberate set of events to try and drive you out of your job and trying to sort of just always badmouth you and your boss. You know, things have been going rosy or might have been normal and they somehow just suddenly abnormal. And then when you're at home as well, like your neighbors, they just also seem to be a bit strange. They seem to have some kind of beef against you, and all of these relationships, like at work, at home, friends, they just seem to be more or less on the same tip of singing the same song, that you might have been some kind of bad person, and you wonder, like, what the hell is going on? How can a person lose all his relationships all in one go? You also realize that there are a couple of rumors that are doing the rounds about you. The whole public, even people you don't know, there seems to be like somebody's lying to them, and you don't know who's spreading these rumors. Like, you might be like you might be accused of being a thief or a criminal or something which you definitely you're not. This is going to be called gang stalking. If this is happening, it's gang stalking. There are actually paid perpetrators that are doing this to you, that are spreading these lies. They work 24 hours a day. It's a job. It's full-time paid, and they're not going to stop. They're following a strict system. They're following a system like that's effective.
Absolutely. And it happens on YouTube, okay? It happens on Facebook. Happens on any social media site. Anywhere where real TIs are, this stuff happens.
And it's actually, the intent is just to destroy your life. You might have noticed other areas of your life, nothing is going well. There's also a lot of other strange events.
And this is not schizophrenia, folks. This is what happens to organized stalking victims.
And unfortunately...
Or let me say survivors. I want to say survivors, because we're survivors, guys.
You are going to lose your value and stature. That's the system. That's part of the system. That's what they're getting paid to do. It's like assassination. It's like they're assassined. They're just going to kill your character in society, and you're not going to be able to get it back. It's also going to be non-stop, meaning for years and years and years to come, you're going to be haunted, and it's going to be a whole lot of other strange events as well. You might have been thinking of turning to church, or even your old pals, you're surprised that they're also like people you haven't seen for 10 years, or people you've known in grade 1, or old teachers, or maybe lecturers at varsity and stuff like that. Church also doesn't seem to be friendly towards you. It's like the whole world is against you. That's when you know it's gang stalking.
Like I said, in the last clip, man, it's just a difference between both sides of the spectrum, between people who have schizophrenia and organized stalking victims. And even the two communities is totally different, I showed some of the schizophrenia community comments and stuff. I'm just gonna click on one here really quick here, and then we're gonna end this video out. Let's see here, because I know, if you're a real TI and you're going through this, you have been gaslit into believing that this is a mental illness, or you are crazy, or this is schizophrenia, and there's definitely a difference between the two. And let's see here, guys. Spiritual warfare. Just going into the video here. Honeyflower. There be some more info about the weapons used. Let's see here. This could help. A jammer that stops targeting. Okay, so somebody knows something that can help. If a targeted individual continues to seek only physical solutions to a perceived physical problem, a strong delusion to okay. Alright, and let's see here, we got some, this lady is from the Philippines. Okay, so Jojo F says, share your story with a therapist. Let's see what happens here. This is not about therapy, my friend. It's all about perps handler. A lot of people doesn't understand how targeted individuals, people going through every day. Absolutely, there's no medicine for electronic psychological weapons. That is a fact. Man, right? Don't we wish we could just take a pill and all of this would go away and we could be normal? Oh, let's see here. Stacy, horrible advice. What the H is wrong with that girl? Must be a perp. You see what I'm saying? I mean, man, there's all kind of things going on in the comment sections here. Now look at this. Take a look at this. Look at this, guys. Perfect timing, man, in the spirit of this video. Look with this. Your favorite channel here, your favorite handler, Chief Handler, says it's called schizophrenia. Dun dun dun. And look at that, 35 replies. So I'm gonna click it. I know it's a lot of effery going on in this section here. And then we're gonna close it out because this is a pretty long video, man. But you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. I'm normal people. I just spread awareness. This people is insane. How they're hurting other people's life and putting this program. Absolutely. Look at that. There is no program. Okay, fine. Whatever you call it. But I'm sure there's lots of people behind this. Christopher Wiig says, stay away from the children and get a life, Christopher Wiig. He's telling Chief Handler. He doesn't know the targeted individuals go through every day. Chief Handler. You idiots are the ones without lives. Look at, you see what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? This doesn't happen in the schizophrenia community. This type of stuff in the comments, that doesn't happen. It really doesn't. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Just wanted to debunk this myth, man, and just compare the two side by side. What are your takes on this, man? Let me know in the comment section, man. And you know, maybe it's another thing we need to discuss on the live. Thank you guys for watching, man. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.